The second key part of the PV site assessment that you and I all need to verify and follow is this grading rubric. This is what is the go or no-go gauge for determining the quality of the site assessment that you need to produce. And I'm going to quickly go down to the bottom of this document to show you how many points that you must score. There is a total of 83 points that are available. Now you can see of all those points that are available which ones are more critical than another. So you have on a typical matrix right here, no info provided, to it's a properly documented assessment. What I really want you to try to shoot for is 4s all through the board. That may or may not be possible. There may be some things that are there. We want to try to get these things in a much aligned format. I'm going to show you on a form all of the site assessment materials that we absolutely positively need to have in order to do our site assessment. But on page 1, you will notice there are a total of 9 objectives that will be sections within. So section 1 will essentially talk about the client information, load analysis, and efficiency recommendations that we absolutely need to have. Some of this material, like efficiency recommendations, there are some generic platforms that we have created, and you will see what those documents are within the energy efficiency. You must tailor this report to each individual person and specific site assessment that you have and what you're going to. Do not create an assessment report that is generic, that you've just plugged in data but left lots of holes or didn't delete stuff that did not belong. This report needs to be short, sweet, to the point that the homeowner can understand what the site location is, what the cost is going to be, and what their next steps are. So here's some things. Really, we want to try to fit this all onto one page. Don't exceed it. It's right to the point, covers it, information is right there. Again, you can read this stuff, but now what we're looking for, spelling and grammar. Nothing shouts louder that I don't know something than a poorly written documentation. Very, very unprofessional. Our job as a site assessors is to go out and provide the absolute best assessment that we can do. All right, getting to the next page here from 3 to 4. You can see what these big points are. I'm going to hit the highlights for you. Notice existing electrical infrastructure. Absolutely critical. This site assessment is going to be given to an installer. In our class, that would be us. We are going to do the install. However, for this line of work and what the skill set that we're going to provide here is only to become a site assessor, to be the person that goes out to the field, that looks at a location and gives you the best detail and information given that site that you have available for you. That is the most critical. So section 4.2, absolutely key that everything is provided. Balance of system. We want to try to have this as best described as possible. We got to have a lot of these items laid out, inverter, main service panel. All of this data has to be provided for you to understand how the system lays out. You are going to give this report form to somebody else that is going to take it and then do that install. So we want them to know where the client thinks the balance of system is going to go, and then the installer will know where that location is. This gets us to a very critical point that you have to be aware of. The couple key ingredients are, we want to provide the photo layouts. We want to show where the circuit breakers and stuff are. We may even want to note whether this is up to snuff or not. We may notice that there's some broken wires. We may notice that they have some serious electrical issues. We cannot put into this report form items that may come back later to bite us in the butt. I'll explain that later, but our job is to perform an assessment. Our goal is to get the client to buy solar, not because we're the salesman, but because our data is going to help them make an informed decision. An informed decision may require us to do some sort of analysis and make of notes, but we cannot go out and say that the roof structure is not sound or the trusses underneath of there are rotted out. We could say that there appears to be significant damage, and you would need to have a proper licensed inspector take a look at that situation. Those are the things that we need to know. All right, for the next page here, here's the critical things. Energy production, absolutely a critical one. Same way with calculation of system sizes and system recommendations. Absolutely key to get into that. I've created a little Word document I'm going to pull up next that discusses how we want to calculate those. But we want those 6.2 and 6.3 systems to be consistent throughout our report. And once we have that report knowledge and give it to that homeowner, then we will be able to get some really good discussion, and then we'll be able to help them determine whether that size is just right. Maybe they see the numbers and go a little bit larger. So that's what we have there. Follow-up detail. You're going to need to do some legwork prior to you doing a site assessment. You need to know what the electrical company is, whether it's a co-op or a public utility. You need to find out what liability requirements are. You need to know what the current electrical rates are, whether they're on tiered systems or on just a fixed cost throughout the year. So there are some variables in that 8.0 to 9.0 that you're going to need to know. From 6.2 to 6.3, we're going to take all that information and start feeding it through to the financial analysis. There's going to be a few data points that we're going to need to collect along the way, and that's where we're going to find those at. And then finally, you can see that the clarity of presentation and the professional appearance are really what stands out. This is going to be one skill certificate or feather in your cap that will help place you out in industry and getting a job. These skills are not unique to, say, PV. There are some specific PV options, but the point of it is we really want you to be a person that can investigate a situation, look at the details, be able to use the calculators and information that already exists out there and provide a sound and reasonable deduction of what those variables are and calculate a system size and energy performance size and a cost analysis of that.